Thank you all for being here. I want to ask you all just to take a nice deep breath and just kind of center yourself for a moment and allow yourself to sort of relax and open up your mind, your heart, and your spirit so that you are in a receiving mode to hear your own messages, your own feelings, and your own thoughts. All right, very good. So part of the call tonight is I'm going to talk about two topics. I'm going to focus on one area, which is discover your potential first. I'll take a few calls about that particular topic, and or if you have it on purpose, it may blend in. And in the second half of the call, I'm going to go ahead and move to live in purpose. And so as we all learn together, hopefully one or two little pieces of information that maybe I share or maybe that other people are experiencing and going through on their call and in their journey, that you'll all learn and take something from the call. My goal is to provide a resource to help you learn and grow to your best potential as well. So here we go. So when I really talk about discovering your potential, I think about Christopher Columbus, and he's the guy, discovered America. Well, he had to start with the feeling that something was bigger, better, greater out there, right? And so I got to say that with us, as we begin to discover our potential, right, which is where our life could be if we are working effectively, happily, and joyfully. That's the potential. We hope always for the best potential. So let me make a disclaimer. When I talk about potential, I'm speaking of the potential of happiness, joy, freedom, knowledge, all of that part that makes us feel free, part of the human characteristics. But make no mistake, we also have a purpose that or potential to self-sabotage, stay in situations that are unhelpful. So when I'm talking about potential, I want us to all think about where our life could go if we had the resources within, trusted our inner self, and that we could really fulfill our destiny. And destiny, we all hope, is part of our purpose. In addition to our potential, is how to give love and receive love. So when we're talking about purpose, potential, happiness, we always have to begin that with setting the intentions of, if we come from a state of love, we'll always be in a good place. If you're coming from a place of resentment, fear, anger, frustration, blame, those type of, if you're coming from that place, you can move into a being state of moving into a different potential of happiness, freedom, the ability to live fearlessly. Those are ways that we want to move to. So I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page with that. So the first things first, here we go. We've decided we're going to discover America, discover our potential, per se. We got to look at ourselves not only as a journey, but as a search, seek, and find mission. That means you and I, we both have to be responsible for our own voyage, which means some of us have to let go of letting what other people think, feel, say. We have to let all of that go so that we can begin a new territory of inner realization, so that we can explore outwardly to not only serve others, but find peace within ourselves. So as we begin to look at our roadmap, first things first, we always have to look at, are we the boss of our own ship? Do you have that ability to say, this is the way I feel, this is where I'm at, this is where I'd like to go? Do you know how to say that in a loving way? If that's the goal, is that as a captain of our ship, we want people to come and join us with them, meaning we want people on our voyage with us, but we also want to be able to communicate our expectations to those people, friends, family, and influence. So part of our responsibility, and for those of you that listened to the call in June, I talked about really spiritual growth was an effective part of reaching our potential, in that we find our inner self strong, so that we can make decisions based on spirit and our intuition versus what the world and other people's expectations are. It's got to really come from within, meaning how we find happiness, how we feel like we contribute to other people, our lives, our jobs, our work. So as we begin to be captains of our own ships, we have to look at, do we know how to lead ourselves? Which means, do we know that we are responsible for our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions, and that in having the freedom of knowing that, we can begin to make better decisions that happily influence ourselves. So when we talk about your potential, there's so many different areas. Remember, the potential for greatness is within every single human being. Because within every human being, there is a little bit of good, a little bit of God, a little bit of connection within every human being. And it is a matter of the captain of the ship on where that journey unfolds. And hopefully you move your inner journey into a place of peace, happiness, accomplishment, success, and prosperity in a way that serves you and others. Don't worry, we all get off path, that's for sure. So when we talk about, here we are as a captain of our ship, we've learned how to say, this is what I like, this is what I would like to do in my life, this is where I want to go. Then we begin to ask those people that love and support us to go along with us, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, and you get to decide whether or not you still go on your inner journeys anyway. One of the common things I hear about with, I'm going to say, marriage couples per se, is one person may be growing, one of the partners may be growing really spiritually, and the other person is not. Maybe they like their life, they think they're happy, but then you've got a partner that's not so happy, and it feels a restlessness, a sense of disease, a sense of concern. Then that doesn't mean you have to leave your partner. It just means that you have to be able to explain through communication where you are, that your partner who's happy is not responsible for making you happy, but you have to do some research, some explorations, and try some things in communication with that partner so that you can enjoy your relationships and also pursue your inner strengths. I'm going to take a call real quick. I'd like to take calls tonight, and I'm going to get through as many as I can. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and open the Q&A, and I believe all you have to do is press *6. All right, so if you have a question for me, I'm going to wait to see if I've got you guys on the board here. And hopefully I've told you the right direction. Oh, hallelujah, I think I have. But I see people lining up, so this is good. Here we go. So we're going to all learn how to discover our potential. All right, here we go. Let's take our first call. All right, this is Jennifer. Who am I speaking with? Can you hear me?
Oh, this is Brandy.
Hey, Brandy. Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you. It was *6, right? Did you press *6 on your? Okay, I like it. Unless they've changed since June, I think it should be still *6. How can I help you tonight?
I have a feeling what my potential is.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm on the right path of it.
Okay, so first of all, so I'm going to use you kind of as an example. We all have that inner feeling that talks about our inner potential, okay? So are you talking about your mental, spiritual, physical, career, or relationship potential?
Oh, I think it has to, actually, I think they're intertwined.
Yeah, and they are. I always like to tell people when you start on your discovery part, there's areas that we discover along the way, but as we build on one area and following our potential, those inner feelings, they do naturally feed into all the others. Just curious if you had a particular area that you were focused on.
Well, yeah, actually, I'm trying to more bring out my psychic abilities.
Oh, development. Oh, yes, that's a very good plan. Anytime you do that, it could be good for you. So you are, so as far as you developing your abilities, uh, do you have a particular question about that? You want to make sure you're on the right path?
Yeah, because I know I have it, but then I don't think I have it because sometimes it'll pop up and then it goes away.
Okay, so as you are discovering your potential, so let's talk about psychic development. Everybody in the planet that is a human being has psychic senses. Hearing,
Right.
seeing, feeling, knowing, sensing. Everybody on the planet has the potential to explore those in a way, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through practice. But some of the first things you can do, if you think you have an idea of where you want to be, first of all, anytime you tune into your natural abilities, you'll always get a check mark from your spirit guides. Always, 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 okay? So that would be a yes. Okay.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean check mark?
It means a yes. It means, like when you go to school, you get a check plus, and you go, yes, that's a good thing.
Oh,
You
okay.
get a check mark. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm kind of visual that way. So following your intuition will always be an answer yes. Always, 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 always. Period. To anybody else who's on the call, that is, the goal is to reprogram our spirit where it is the leading force rather than our logic. You can use logic with our spirit, which communicates through intuition to help us not only provide service and help other people, but also helps us guide us in a more loving way. A couple of books you might want to look at: Psychic Navigator by John Holland. It's I'm going to say, starting book on explaining development in psychic work. And
okay,
that will help you.
Yeah, I think I'm already there.
Okay.
But it's just that I want to trust it more.
Okay. That's just going to take practice, my friend.
Okay.
And I do have that on my notes. See, this is what I wrote. You get a roadmap. You get a personal job is to research, plan.
Okay.
Then you get to equip yourself with tools and knowledge. You also get to learn how to trust what you are feeling and sensing. That is always the best way to take care of your development. And just as an example, I like to use the yes, no, I'm not sure questions. Let's say you're thinking about a move, okay? You're moving into a new place, a new job, a new location. And, the best way to start is what you know, meaning how do I feel about this? Yes, no, or I'm not sure. It comes from the gut, not from the mind. Okay? That's how you begin to start. You can also do that whenever you are meeting new people, is how do I feel about this person? Do I like them? Do I trust them? Do I respect them? Do I get a good feeling on all three of those? And if it's I'm not sure, then that just means you need to do a little research. And then some of them you'll go, oh yeah, I know that's not good. So, so that's going to take practice with writing some of your feelings, thoughts, and emotions down, seeing how they begin to turn up in your life, and beginning to trust that sense. Practice reconfirming. Validation is the only way that we, as people that are developing our psychics, we can rely on our own validation, meaning what we sense and feel, and we sort of wait for that to transpire. Or if we're ready to kind of take our gifts out to the world, going to entry-level psychic classes are another way to do it, because one, hopefully it's guided by a loving facilitator, a supportive facilitator, and it gives you some tools on how to really fine-tune your abilities. So thank you for calling, Brandy. I hope you enjoyed the call.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day. Okay. All right, this is Jennifer. What's your name?
Tracy.
Hey, Tracy. I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. It's fine. I just wanted you to speak up just a little bit. How can I help you tonight?
Well, my question is, I have never felt like I had any gifts prior to my brother passing.
Yep.
He passed away in January.
Of this year?
Yes.
Okay.
And some very wonderful things happened to me. The angels sent me many messages that helped my family.
That's wonderful.
I was very, was very, I'm just in awe because of everything that happened, that I felt fortunate enough to be able to deliver messages or see things that my brother was seeing at the time of his passing. Since then, I haven't seen, only once in a while I do. It's like when a message needs to be given, they'll tell me, and then that's it. And I really, really enjoyed that part. It was, for anyone, it's so fulfilling.
Yes,
and,
it is.
And it came at a time for me where it made me feel very whole.
Yep.
But I have no control over it, and I can't tap into it when I wish. Only once in a while it just comes when it comes. There's no rhyme or reason. Is this only because it was a time of need and now it's no longer needed? Or is it just because right now I'm probably experiencing a lot of anxiety?
Well, I actually feel like it, just so you know, I just get a sense that you actually, your grandma is here. So I'm just feeling a grandma connection, that you may have had some similar experiences with a grandmother figure that passed. So it may seem so current right now, but you also had awarenesses and connections as a young girl. So what I'm going to share with you is that, just like with Brandy, anytime we start to develop our six senses, okay, and we want to see kind of where they take us,
yes,
whether they are meant for crisis situations or maybe they're meant for other things, the best thing to do is get yourself sort of educated and informed on the psychic senses and what they are, okay? And in doing that, it will help you understand. And when I say senses, hearing, seeing, feeling, I was talking about John Holland's book a minute ago,
yes.
Psychic Navigator.
Yes, I
and the
wrote it
reason,
down.
Yep, it's such a good, I just found it to be a very helpful book for people that are getting started, because it describes in everyday terms how to recognize your gifts, your abilities. Meaning, I'm clairaudient, which means I hear spirit, I hear their connections. I'm also clairvoyant. Those are my strengths because I've practiced them long enough. I know what my strengths are. So I get images and impressions. So those are my two strengths. So if you, and Brandy, if you're still listening, one of the best ways to sort of validate that is to do a little study on psychic development. Now, getting messages from the angels and connecting to the spirit in that sense, some people call that channeling, okay? And I'm just going to give you a word of caution. This is only just a slight word of caution. As you develop and read into your psychic abilities, your gifts, we become more sensitive, right? Which means if it's not the best time that you explore that, give yourself a couple more months, right? But you have to do it for the intention of, let me see, I saw something in myself I didn't know I had, rather than I got to connect to my brother. Does that make sense? That's, unfortunately, there are people that come to my classes that have lost a loved one, and they want to, their purpose for wanting to connect to the spirit world is because they've lost a loved one. And that really is not the best time, because for psychic development, we're kind of exploring those inner senses. Emotions are so critical to clarity, right? In having validation and things like that. So, a couple of suggestions. One, keep talking to your brother, because it's important that you keep that connection and you keep talking to the angels that support you. You might want to do some. Go to the bookstore, go on your intuition, and go to the psychic department down at Barnes & Noble and get a feel if you're drawn to any books. Now, when I say drawn to, I'm not wanting you to think about is that the right book. I just want you to feel a magnetic energy that you're drawn to it.
Okay.
And that's one of the first ways that you can feel energy that you're connected to someone.
Okay, because
Oh,
it's not necessarily to connect with my brother. It was just
yeah.
the idea of helping my family or
Oh,
anyone who was grieving.
yeah.
It was such a fulfilling thing, and
I had the same experience.
it was amazing. And I do remember as a young girl certain things with God or the angels, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember talking to them, and
Mm-hmm.
but then it all went away. And
Well, sometimes our awareness in different times, like I've always been intuitive, but like say when I was raising my son and
yeah,
my roles had changed, kind of, I'm going to call it the day-to-day functioning of life,
yes,
right? It really wasn't the time for me to develop because I was very task-oriented at that time. And it wasn't until he got a little older that I could actually meditate, read books, and do the kind of things that were the right time to development. All I can share with you is that development is meant to help us, whether we're healing ourselves or we're using it to help others. The other piece is get little tidbits like what you're doing tonight. Just get little tidbits when you can, and then when you have more time to develop, also, don't forget to look at Doreen Virtue's work. She's the angel specialist. So she's got a lot of, and just as a suggestion, I would probably encourage you to get the daily guidance cards by Doreen Virtue, because what happens with those is as you use them for yourself and you practice with other people, you begin to get the feeling and the sensations of the exact angels that you're working with. And in knowing which angels you're working with, that also provides you information because particular guidance angels work in different areas. Okay?
yes, and I knew that there were quite a bit of them. Is there any way that you can tell me who my spirit guide is?
Well, I got a lot of calls, so
Okay,
I'm just going to ask you, and remember, you got more than one spirit guide. You might want to look at exploring your angel connections first, okay? Because that's where your opening is. Don't worry, the guides you have aren't going anywhere. That's probably why you've been getting messages about angels, is so that you can start to work with angels that are your guides. So,
okay.
All right, have fun with it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a great segue. So we had Brandy who talked about how to validate, hey, I got these feelings, I got these senses, and it just happens to be with psychic development. Then we have another lady who was, because of a circumstance, became aware that she had abilities to connect with divine guidance. Granted, the spirit, our inner spirit, our spirit guidance connection, we're all connected to it. It's just a matter of, are we open for the flow? And the good news is everybody gets to do it different, and nobody has it better than the other. What I can share with you is that if you're feeling the nudge, if you're feeling that inner guidance, the best way to discover your potential, whether it's about psychic development, changing work careers, changing relationships, the best thing you can do is start to ask questions about where you'd like to be. Rather than what you don't have, begin to look at where you want to be. Because that's part of, remember, we're all captains of our ship. We gotta get a vision of our map. We gotta get a vision of where we want to be in our life. Now that means mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, career, social, gifts, all of that. So the good news is, and this is what I was talking about, Brandy, earlier, is that if you start to, let's say you're going to use your intuition on your work, once you begin to trust in that inner guidance while you do practical research, study, research, things like that, set intentions, be mindful that fear is going to come up for every one of those things. Fear is just an indicator that you don't have all the answers you need and you can get a strategy. Okay? I'm going to take another call. Here we go. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Mary.
Hey, Mary. It's Jennifer. How can I help you?
Oh, this discussion this evening is so incredibly timely for me because I recently, my position has been eliminated. Been a vice president in a major financial corporation for many, many, many years. And this journey, I really had discovered something that was actually came to be, and that's Reiki. And
I got energy work around you. I was like, you were telling me before I could get it out. That's so good. I actually got energy healing around you. I didn't particularly know which modality, but go ahead.
Oh, good. That makes me feel so good because I received my Reiki master, and I am just beginning a whole new journey in my life that, I mean, it found me, and I'm just so drawn to it. And my husband and I were just having this conversation last night because he has concerns. Coming from a very, pragmatic financial, background, into something like this. But I just said, I can't explain it. It came to me. I am drawn to it. I'm flying.
Well, that's because our spirit is meant to soar. Okay? So every human being has the potential to soar with growth. And growth and purpose, when I start talking about how to live in your purpose, part of our purpose in life is to grow and evolve as human beings into states of being that we can hold longer, meaning love, happiness, giving, service. Love and service, that's always the answer, even if you're a strong businesswoman. I'm just going to give you a heads up. I just saw you opening a center, so you would use your business skills to open up a new center in your area while doing Reiki. So just be aware that could be long off, but is definitely, you might want to run the numbers on some good healing shops. There's some in the new, that are very successful. You might want to visit some of the healing centers and see if that would be something that you could put your corporate America use into an area and field where you feel like you're making a difference, not just personally with people, but providing integrity-based resources for others.
Oh, absolutely. I feel that it's just where I'm drawn, and I love when you use helping and serving, because that's what it is all about for me. Helping.
And that's where number one, we get out of the selfish ego. So everybody talks about, and believe you, there are successful people in the medical physical field all day long. As long as a metaphysical or a healing, the woo-woo world, you can actually do very well in those areas if you are someone who knows how to do research, look at a business plan, because whether it's this field or any other field, if you feel led to leave your job and to start your own business, the first thing you should be doing is look at how that business is operating, how that business runs, and what kind of clients or service that you want to provide. You already know what kind, but I feel like you'll do more, Mary.
Oh,
okay.
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
Have a great day. I'm glad you called, and good luck on your journey.
Thank you so much. Blessings.
Thank you. So just wanted to kind of recapture that. So Mary had the situation with career, and sometimes we have life situations where it causes us to reach for new horizons. Maybe we have a divorce. And or maybe our children have left the house, or there's been somebody who's had cancer that passed away that you've been caring for 8 months. So remember, our spirit is lovingly connected to a divine source that always lovingly watches over us. Unfortunately, we trip over our own fear and our own feet. And as a result, we don't always grab into the potential that we could be, because we see all this old big, there's the new world, but how am I going to do it? So it looks too overwhelming, so you don't even try. I'm saying just try to get in a boat and start going in that direction and start picking up people people that have been successful in that particular area of life. Look for support. Look for research. Begin to say no to people that need to be said no to, yes to opportunity. And these are what captains of their own ships begin to do. Now, I did want to mention the importance of learning how to meditate, okay? And I like to relate this to, again, the ship experience, but if we're covering new ground, new territories, new adventures, then we're going to feel off balance because everything's unfamiliar. It's not new. It's not it's new. So there's going to be some fear. There's going to be like the lady was talking about, my families are not so great to hear that I'm going to, this particular area, or they don't think I can be successful. But if you feel like you can be successful, at the end of the day, you're the one that's got to move forward with that. But meditation, learning how to meditate through guided meditation, through taking quiet walks, through reflection, through imagination, learning how to connect to the breath is like an anchor in the wind. I always, everybody says, Jennifer, you talk about meditation, all right. Well, meditation is that anchor cord that takes our energy, gets it centered, and our energy is our thoughts, feelings, our emotions, gets it centered so that we can decide if we want to move our awareness and our consciousness higher, right? So remember, meditation is meant to help us recenter. That means if you're in an area in your time where you feel overworked, overcharged, guess what? You probably are. That means, have you taken time to reset your course? Okay? I'm going to go ahead and take another call. Here we go. Let's go to our next one. This is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Is this Destiny?
Good. This is Destiny.
Uh-huh. How are you?
I'm good.
How can I help you tonight?
Well, we talked a little bit during your class about the being overwhelmed with the emotions.
Yep.
And I was recently told I'm empathic.
Yep. We all are. Hopefully we all are. That gives us compassion.
Right. And sometimes I get really overwhelmed with the emotions, and I know which ones are mine and which ones aren't. I'm getting
That's
better.
good. That's like, hello, that's the first step.
I just don't know what to do.
Okay, so number one is, and for those that are learning about energy and energy management, and the number one thing that we can ever do is learn about energy, meaning our energy, other people's energy, and how we can become more energetic in our life. Because when we have more energy, we feel alive, we can contribute, we have happiness. I always feel like we're always radiating energy. It's just what kind of energy are you bringing to the table? And I know that you're a woman that is always very considerate with your energy. One, be aware. What I've learned to do, now, not everybody agrees with me on this, but I don't put myself in situations as somebody who's sympathetic or somebody who's empathic in situations where I'm there too long, where I feel like it's taken a detriment to myself, right? So I don't hang around people that are real negative, and unless I have a purpose there. Why? Because I don't want to feel like crap at the end of the day.
Right.
Right? The other part is just recognizing that that's one of the reasons I don't go to Walmart. It's not that I don't like Walmart. It's just there's too much lights, too many people, and too much stuff. There's too much energy in there. It's overwhelming to me.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, I choose to go to smaller stores. And I always have to make a bet with myself if I have to go into Walmart because it's the only store by. I say, can I get in there in 8 minutes or less? Because it's really a decision on who you're spending your time with, how you're using your energy, and are you expelling energy and trying to help somebody who doesn't want help?
Right.
So when you've got that kind of situation, being an empath is just going to let you get a feeling of what they're going through. Doesn't mean you have to fix it, change it, or make it yours. But the awareness, that's why I like meditation so much, and I talk about that. But learning how to balance, center your own energy creates a beautiful filter between other people and situations in our life. And I'm even talking about traffic. Like, I don't even want to get out when there's like a whole bunch of traffic out, because I feel like when people are angry and racing around and, running lights and all that, I get upset. I usually try to go in times when I don't have to ride in so much traffic. And if I do, I just realize I just put a little, for me, visualizations work. I just kind of imagine a beautiful energy that I'm surrounded into that is comforting, and I pay attention and I take deep breaths and I just get through those experiences. Okay. Nothing wrong with being an empath, just realizing there's ways that you can keep that empathic ability in a way that it's supposed to be used.
Okay, and I have most of your CDs, but I've been focusing on the clarity one. Is that probably the best one I should be working on right now?
That's an intensive one. Are you looking to make decisions?
I get a lot of
Okay.
stuff.
What I'm thinking for you is you might like the Clear Your Mind CD or the Day and Night. So you're using Clarity, which has Clear Your Mind on the first track. I would use that one. Do you also have the Day and Night CD?
I do.
You might do the day one, and the reason is that will help you prep up your energy for the day, so that you will, some of the stuff that you're feeling empathic-wise, when you do have to go into those situations, like hospitals, doctors, cranky people, you work on an escalation desk, you're on the customer service field, whatever that looks like, where you're dealing with that kind of energy coming at you, it gives you sort of a shield to bounce that back off other people. And remember, and I shared this with you in class, a great visualization that someone shared with me years ago was to imagine beautiful mirrors where the reflection side was outward. And so anybody that I felt energy from, because I deal with a lot of people who are going through pain and suffering and depression, and I didn't want to take all that on, I just imagined beautiful mirrors in front of me so that would bounce back into that person, and as a result, I could remain effective. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, have fun with it.
Thank you.
All right, so here we go. Guys, I'm gonna move on to the next part real quick. So let's talk about just one last thing. Discover your potential. You have to ask the questions. You have to let what other people think, feel, and what they think is best for you. You got to put that on the side. You got to ask the questions of, if I could, I would. And what I can share with you is that if you start with, if I could, I would, and it seems too overwhelming, take it down a notch. An example, if I could go stay on a beach for a month, I would. Well, maybe you're not in a place that you could stay on a beach to rest and relax, but maybe you can go on a Sunday afternoon and go to a park by a lake and sit there for 3 hours. Maybe that's where you start, so you work into where you want to be. So it's not so overwhelming, but you get the essence of what you are desiring, your potential, and you start with where the small part is. And then in knowing that, this is where I started. I had to learn how to step away from my life and ask for time for myself. And as a result, not only can I do that, but now my family knows that I need, a day a week where I got the phones off, I'm in my room, I'm reading and meditating, and then I'll get to them as soon as I can, So that is, and remember, if we take care of our emotional, spiritual, and our physical needs on a personal basis, meaning us as individuals, we can contribute more happily and healthy to other people. And so when we get that in perspective, if you're always doing everything for everyone, it's hard to discover your potential because you're last on the list, right? So you got to make sure that you get to be somewhere on the list in the top 5. Start small, start little. When I wanted to start to meditate and really grow into my development abilities and my connection with God, it started with 5 minutes with the door shut and the dog out and the kid was told, you can't come in, Mom needs quiet time. It started that simple for me. And that was when he was 3 and 4 years old. So be aware, start with where you are, research, explore, shift your course if you need to, and have fun with it. Look at it as not just a pass or fail, but your spirit, anytime we touch into that, will always discover your potential is to be happy, healthy, and loving. That is the potential. And in doing that, we can contribute that in our careers, in our personal relationship life, with our beautiful earth that we have that takes care of us and provides us resources. So that's that topic. And I'm going to go over a little bit because it took me a while to get going, so I apologize about that. And I'm so glad we're going to go. So let's talk about living in purpose. And everybody gets tied into living in purpose because there's a lot of there's a lot of media and there's a lot of expectations that the world puts on us, is that for us to be on purpose, we have to, make XYZ dollars in the bank, or we have to have the XYZ, our gene size needs to be a certain, size, or that we've got to have the right husband. Well, you may not want to be married, so why would you want to go get a husband just because people tell you to go get a husband or a wife or a partner, right? Or maybe everybody says you want kids, and you're like, no, I really don't want kids, but everybody tells me I should have them. Well, those are the kinds of things that when we begin to live in our purpose, now that we're the captain on our ship, we also begin to grow as humans. It's our job to explore who we are as integrity, what kind of skills we have, what kind of interests we have. It's our job to look at that. If you say, I don't know what I'm good at, well, start with breathing in and out. You're good at breathing out. Then what do you like about yourself? Well, I don't like my stomach. Well, do you like your hair, right? Find a place to start with something in the direction that you want to be. When we are living in our purpose is to be happy. Our purpose is to be functional, and our purpose is to grow and evolve. And remember, that may take different roles, but at the beginning of every purpose, whether we're taking our kids to school, whether we're caring for our parents that are sick, or that we have a husband or a wife that we want to end that relationship because that's the purpose, we feel purposefully driven in that way, or we want to serve God in another way, we have to start with love. The big word is love, Love. You got to do it because you love it. You got to do it because it makes you feel complete and whole, not because it's going to make someone else happy. Our daily purpose changes from time to time. My purpose has changed from time to time based on the circumstances in my life. So now when I do my work, or when whether I'm talking to you guys in a conference call, or whether I'm at the grocery store, my purpose for me is to be a positive influence on people. But that's my aim, that's my goal, that's what I set my intention to do, is may I be a blessing to everyone that comes in my path. And if I'm in a bad mood, may I keep my mouth shut. It's that kind of thing. So you got to look at what your purpose is. And sometimes it's going to the grocery store, going to the bank. But when you're going to the bank and the grocery store, are you actually looking at the money you're getting in and taking out? Are you actually looking at the groceries, or are you just going down the list and throwing them in the bucket? Because make no mistake, we all are going to live, we all are going to cross into another transition. And the physical experience is the most precious experience that we can honor as a physical being. That means the people, places, and times in our relationships. And as we explore making those better, we begin to show compassion. So as I begin to take my next call, just a food for thought, I got this from an angel card today. It says compassion. When you show greater compassion towards yourself, the universe automatically responds by showering you with greater blessings. So keep in mind, are you compassionate? And if you're not, can you start with trying to be understanding? Those are the kinds of qualities that help us live in purpose, because we all have to be functional in some way. But while you're functional and living in your purpose and that function, how are you living? Are you living in a way that is loving, tolerant, or are you so irritated with life and life's problems that you're ready to slam the door and never come out? And if that's it, then that needs to that we all need to take a look. And believe me, too much energy, too many problems, taking on too much responsibility, not speaking up for ourselves, doing what other people want, even when we feel like it's wrong. Those are the kinds of things that cause resentment, anger, and frustration. And so just keeping that in mind is there something you're working on that you need to be honest about and change in your life, and that you need to explore for your own well-being? I'm going to grab a call here real quick. Here we go. Let's have a look. Here we go. Okay. This looks like a Texas number.
Yes,
Hi,
that would be me.
Hey, who's this?
This is Yolanda. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. How can I help? Well, are you enjoying the call?
I am. I'm very much enjoying the call. My question is kind of, I guess, brief. I'm trying to live in purpose and also discover my potential, which is like what you're talking about. I felt since I was young, like a little girl, like probably like 7, that I've been able to connect with spirits, other people, and I'm trying to tap into it. At times, I've been able to, even to a certain point, predict what's going to happen. I just can't exactly tell who it's going to happen to. Sometimes I know exactly who it's going to happen to. Sometimes I know exactly what's going to happen.
Perfect.
But
that tells me you're on that means you're on the psychic highway. And let me assure you, if you're developing spiritually and you're meditating, that's a natural occurrence. It's supposed to happen.
Like, I understand, like I tell my mom, because my family, there's been a few of us that have that sixth sense, it's psychic ability, so it's something passed down. But I get frustrated sometimes, and I don't know how to deal with it. I guess is how do I deal with it? There's times where, like, I feel like God's given me the gift, but He's telling me, like, I'm giving you this gift, but I'm not allowing you to change the outcome. And my problem is when I know something bad's going to happen and I can't change the outcome, how do I learn to deal with that? Because I'm still trying to develop this and learn what I'm supposed to do with it.
Okay, first things first. So we got to start with some basics. You ready?
Okay.
The first thing I'd recommend is we got to back you up a little bit. It's important that when you have your abilities, I want to see you honor them and be honored for them. That you are that you hone in your abilities by going to classes and development things like that, so you can really get a scope of your potential with your abilities. Because I can assure you, if you're getting glimpses, you can get a river if you know how to get the wiring right. Okay. Now, the things you're telling me are, I'm seeing bad stuff happening and I can't do anything about it. Some of that may not be appropriate for you to reveal to that person, depending on who it is in the situation. Now, an example. People come to me, they have readings, and for me, they've opened up for me to be able to talk to them about what they want. When I have that, I know that it's okay for me to say that to them because they've revealed that to me, okay? They gave me permission, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I've also got family members, okay? I got brothers, sisters, and a mother. And I get things for them. And the way I have couched things is, depending on, I always ask for guidance in that situation. Should I say anything? Okay. And I wait for that as a yes, no, or I'm not sure. And if it's a no or an I'm not sure, I just wait. Okay. Remember, if you're developing, you're naturally going to get stuff regardless. Okay. So remember, you're on a flow of information that it should be what you get anyway. You should be feeling and sensing when people are going to be in, trouble. An example, my son, he had a new roommate move in. And before he even said it, I have a bad feeling about this guy. But I told him, I said, something's not right. I said, you're going to have the experience with him. Just remember, to take care of yourself and do the things that you need to do, right? Because he kind of brushes me off. My son doesn't always take me seriously. So he just does it. And then whenever it happens, he calls me, he goes, yes, Mom, I know, you told me that. But sometimes it's more about giving the information in a way of, hey, sometimes I pick up things I thought you might want to know, but I really ask for guidance if that's the right situation. Family members, friends that know I have the ability, sometimes I'll just say, hey, I pick up things, I hope you don't mind if I share it with you. And I don't know where it goes or how it fits, but this is what was coming to me.
Right, and that's the thing, like, because people know that I have really good intuition, like I have friends that will tell me, you have got the best intuition, and there's times they ask me, like, what do you think about this, and I'll get a good feeling, well, no, I think it's going to be okay, or I don't get a good, good vibe off of that, and I'll tell them. But in other instances, when it's more personal, where it's concerned my family, I'll actually get physical symptoms, like I'll get sick to my stomach, where I feel that something's going to happen. And
I get that with my mom.
I just can't change it. And I guess it's kind of hard for me to, like, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah, so for me, the way I handle it is kind of, I've seen the way my mom's going to pass and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I haven't told her because I don't want to get into all that with her, right? One, it'll freak her out, right? So the last thing I want to do is freak her out. So what I do is I just call and check on her and ask her how she's doing. And if I hear that she's putting something off that she should probably not, I just say it. Mom, you might want to get this looked at. I feel that it, might be important. Because it used to scare my mom when I'd say, Mom, I dreamed about so-and-so, and this is what happened, and this is how come. She goes, I don't want to know about all that. So, it's really more about, number one, trusting that you get it. Sometimes you get messages just because you're psychic, and it doesn't mean you have to give that information out. If you feel really important about it, and because it's not about validating, because you already know you have the gift. It's just more about, is this the right time and place, and is this somebody I have a relationship with that, should it come up or if it continues to have an issue, it's okay to say, I got a funny feeling about that. It's completely okay to say that, because most normal people even get funny feelings about things. Okay?
Right.
So you're okay. And also look for the good things too. Start to go to development, do a little research, see where you can really bring, instead of seeing problems as well, start to look at where you see good opportunities in situations as well, because that will help you balance some of the negative stuff that comes through, because sometimes sensation in the body is stronger, and it can make you more emotional as a person who cares about that person.
Do you know if there would be a good book that I could read until I can find a class?
So you're in 817, right? But are you in that area?
Yes. I'm actually not too far from your Bedford office.
Okay. So just so you know, I'm going to be, for those that want to develop, I'm going to be in Houston in October. I'll be doing a psychic development class. I'll be doing a meditation, and I'll be doing messages from the spirit world, a meditation, and I'll be doing a full-day development class on, I think it's October 20th. Now, books to read. For you, I would probably look at, there's so many. You should probably go to the Barnes & Noble and do what I suggested with the other girl, is really go with who you feel drawn to go to. From a practical standpoint, John Holland's got the Navigator book, which explains the abilities, right? Echo Bodine, and that's how it's spelled, Echo Bodine. She's got books that are more about developing and practicing. I've really enjoyed those. There's also development groups around the Dallas-Fort Worth area where people are meeting and practicing in groups together that you can go pretty inexpensively. I would go to meetup.com, type in psychic development, and see what meetup groups happen and how often. And that will be a good way for you to talk to other people that are also developing too.
Oh, good.
Have a great day. I'm glad you called in. Thank you. All right. Mm-hmm. So when we're living in purpose, that means we're owning our space. We're setting our intentions of what kind of what kind of purpose we want to be today. And it might be that you got a long list of duties you got to do, and that's your purpose, and you need to get through it. It could be that you don't have anybody to take care of, and your purpose is to find peace and solace and in solitude, and how to do things that you enjoy. Maybe you're single and you want a relationship, and you realize that the relationship time is not here, but how do you add more hobbies, times, and interest into your life? We can find purpose in all that we do just by staying in the moment. You know, I was at the beach, and I'm at the beach now, and I've been here for a couple of weeks, and, you know, I don't go every day, but when I was out the other day, I really did kind of like, wow, I'm at the beach, you know, and I really tried to embrace that because I'd already been working and reading, and I really wanted to embrace, and I go, Jennifer, remember this. It's sort of like I have to talk to myself. Remember, you were here. This is beautiful. This is what you saw 2 years ago, because I did see myself at the beach a couple of years ago having work by here. So it's one of those things that came. It took 2 years, but I'm here. But I really have taken time to embrace that. If you have children, when's the last time you actually smiled at them and looked at them in the eyes? If you have parents, family members, when's the last time you've listened to what they have to say and really listened to them? When is the last time you actually went and heard and you gave yourself a break and you showed compassion? Remember, living in purpose is not only function, but it's how we meet that purpose. Purpose always means action. That means that we set that goal, that intention. Meditation can be helpful. I had mentioned to Destiny on the earlier call when the day and night meditation CD, which is a part of one of the things I recommended for people that are looking to sort of set their energy point better, ground energy in a way that you begin to allow that to be a part of your life. The day and night and the essential meditation are perfect for that because they're really written in a way that it helps you tap into your inner energy, but it also teaches you how, once you feel that energy, how to put it in the direction of where you want to go, which is your potential. And hopefully that potential includes love, prosperity, positive affirmations, contributing to your own desires, wants, and needs, and balancing that with how to give that to others. I hope you guys have enjoyed the call tonight. We are at time. I really want to thank you for participating. I want to thank you again for staying on the line through the call. I will have another call next month. I don't know exactly when or where yet. And one thing I did want to mention is I'm going to be offering a meditation intensive. And what that looks like is that for those that really have been struggling with meditation, and it'll be on my website in a couple of weeks, but I've got a small group, which what I will do is for a fee, you'll get a few of my meditations. I'll give you personal coaching. I hate that word coaching, but we'll do a personal assessment